You know, a man gets old and thinks he's seen it all. But I wasn't ready for what I heard that warm Texas evening. My name is George Walker, and this is how the ground crumbled beneath my feet, right in my own family. It all started with a whisper. Grandpa, after the party, Mom and Dad want to take your money. That's what my granddaughter, Emma, told me in a tiny voice, her blue eyes wide and scared. I was standing near the barbecue pit in my backyard in Austin, Texas, and those words hit me harder than a summer thunderstorm. Emma is only 8, but she's sharp and honest as they come. She tugged my sleeve, glanced around to be sure nobody heard, and said it again. Promise you won't tell them I said this. Please, Grandpa. My hands shook a little as I set down my plate of brisket. I promise, honey. You can always tell me anything. But inside I was reeling. Was it possible? Could my own daughter, Anna, and her husband, Tom, be plotting against me? Earlier that morning I'd gotten a call from Tom, of all people. Now, Tom's never been a morning guy, but there he was, calling me at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. George, hey, hope I didn't wake you. Listen, Anna really wants you to come early to Emma's birthday party this year. Around noon, maybe. We've got some family things to talk over. That alone set my nerves humming. I sipped my coffee at my kitchen table, the Texas sunlight streaking in across a pile of old mail. Tom, I haven't missed a single one of Emma's birthdays. You know that. There was a pause, then I heard Anna's voice in the background, sharp, anxious. It's important, Dad, she called. Just come early, all right? Well, my family knows I'd do anything for Emma. Ever since my wife, Martha, passed, that little girl's been my whole world. But Tom and Anna? Their calls about helping the family had always ended up being about money, car repairs, private school, bills. $70,000 over 3 years, and I never said no. That morning, after the call, I wandered around my house in my old Astros t-shirt, thinking. I kept seeing Martha's photo on the mantel, her smile steady and calm. She used to say, George, don't let kindness make you a fool. I drove down to the local mall, Barton Creek, the busiest place in Austin on a Saturday. I got Emma a set of those big Lego kits, and a new pink bike with a Texas flag bell. The clerk said, Lucky granddaughter you got. I smiled, but my mind was racing. Outside the sporting goods store, I ran into my neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, a sharp lady with a sharp eye. She told me she'd seen Tom and Anna leaving the credit union on Tuesday, carrying a folder thick with papers. Looked like official business, she said. It all started to make sense. The anxious calls, the talk of family business, the trip to the bank. I felt the old instincts from my years as a contractor kicking in. Something here wasn't right. When I got home, I wrapped the presents, set out Emma's favorite vanilla cupcakes, and tried to shake off my suspicion. But as I drove across Austin to Anna's house, a heaviness settled over me, a kind I hadn't felt since Martha's funeral. Anna's house was decked out for the party, balloons, streamers, every neighbor in the block milling around. Tom was suddenly warm and friendly, introducing me to his work friend, Mike from Dallas, calling me the best father-in-law a guy could hope for. Anna was oddly cheerful too, flitting around the kitchen like it was Thanksgiving. But Emma? She clung to me, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. All afternoon, I watched Tom and Anna exchange glances. When I tried to slip away for a minute, Anna was right there, asking if I needed water, asking if I was tired. When the party wound down, Tom said, Stick around after the guests leave, George. We want to talk about your future. It's important. That's when Emma caught me in the hallway and told me their plan. She was trembling, but determined. I heard Mom and Dad say they want to make you sign something tonight, papers from the bank. Mom said you have too much money for an old man, and Dad looked scared. I knelt down, pulled her into a hug, and promised her, Nobody is going to take anything from Grandpa. Not while I'm still breathing. But you did the right thing, Emma. And I love you more than anything in this world. As I walked back to the living room, I looked at Tom and Anna and knew this night would change our family forever. After Emma whispered her warning, I went back to the party with my heart pounding so loud I thought everyone could hear it. It was a strange feeling, pretending everything was fine while inside, I was making plans. I'd been through a lot in my 72 years. Lost friends, lost Martha, built my own business from the ground up in the heat of Texas summers, but this felt different. Betrayal from strangers is one thing. From your own blood it hits deep. I smiled, handed out the last of the cupcakes, and made small talk with the neighbors as if nothing was wrong. Tom was showing off the grill to his friend Mike, bragging about a brisket recipe he'd learned from the old man himself. Anna kept hovering, asking if I needed a refill on lemonade, making sure I stayed close by. But I was watching. Every time Tom and Anna caught each other's eye, it was like a silent signal. They were anxious, almost desperate for the guests to leave. Emma, meanwhile, stuck by my side, her small hand never far from mine. Finally, as the Texas sun dropped low and the yard emptied out, Tom clapped me on the back. "Hey, George, let's go inside. We'll talk about some important family matters. Just you, me, and Anna." I gave Emma a reassuring wink as I followed them into the living room. Anna sat down on the couch, her expression serious but overly sweet. Tom set a folder on the coffee table. My name, printed bold on the front, made my stomach twist. "Dad," Anna started, her tone just a little too smooth. "We've been worried about you. You're getting older. The house is a lot to manage. We just want what's best for you, and for Emma." Tom jumped in, trying to sound supportive. "We did some research. There are some great assisted living communities here in Austin, and we thought maybe it's time to think about moving somewhere with medical staff, just in case." That was their opening move. They talked as if it was all about my health and happiness. But I saw right through it. After Martha died, Anna barely called me once a month. Now she was so worried about my well-being. I leaned back in the armchair, acting more tired than I felt. "You two sure put a lot of thought into this. What's with the folder?" Tom slid it closer. "It's just some paperwork. Power of attorney, so we can help with your finances, pay your bills, handle any medical stuff if you get confused. It's really for your own peace of mind." I opened the folder slowly. Inside were legal documents, pages highlighted, yellow sticky notes showing where to sign. There was a form for transferring my accounts, another for access to my safe deposit box, and, at the very bottom, a document for the sale of my house. Anna's voice turned syrupy. "Dad, please. Just sign them. It will make things so much easier for everyone." I pretended to read slowly, blinking as if I couldn't quite focus. "You know, after your mother passed, I promised I'd take care of Emma. She's the one I'm most worried about." "What about her future?" Tom exchanged a quick glance with Anna. "We'll make sure Emma is taken care of, Dad. You can trust us." Trust. That word stung. I set the papers down. "Maybe I should sleep on it," I said, voice trembling just a little. "I don't want to make a big decision on Emma's birthday." Anna's smile faded just a touch. "We just thought we could get it done tonight, while we're all together. That way, you won't have to worry anymore." I looked her straight in the eye. "I appreciate the concern, sweetheart. But my head's spinning after all the excitement. Let's talk tomorrow." The disappointment was obvious. Tom tried one more time. "Dad, sometimes these things can't wait. Banks need paperwork done fast. If you wait, there might be problems with your accounts." I stood, steadying myself on the arm of the chair. "Tom, I've run my own business for 40 years. I know how to handle accounts. I think I can wait until tomorrow." There was a tense silence. Anna forced a smile. "Okay, Dad. Tomorrow morning, then." We'll come by your place and help with the paperwork. Bring Emma too, she'll want to see you. I nodded, picked up my jacket, and called for Emma. She skipped over, relief plain on her face. Ready to go, Grandpa? As we walked out to my old pickup, the night air felt heavier than ever. I strapped Emma into her car seat, her arms tight around the Lego set I'd bought her. She looked up at me, fear flickering in her eyes. Are you okay, Grandpa? Did they make you sign the papers? I shook my head. Not tonight, kiddo. Don't you worry. Driving home, I kept my eyes on the darkening road, mind racing. I needed a plan, and fast. They weren't just after my money. They wanted everything I'd built, everything Martha and I had saved for, all wrapped up in the name of family. But they'd forgotten one thing: this old Texan wasn't as frail or confused as he seemed. That night, I dug out my old safe from the back of the closet. Inside were records, bank statements, investment documents, even a letter Martha had written before she died. As I read through everything, my anger cooled into something sharper. Strategy. If Tom and Anna wanted a fight, they'd get one. I called my lawyer, old friend James Carter, first thing the next morning. James, I need to meet. Urgently. Everything okay, George? He asked, concern in his voice. Not yet, I said. But I'll make sure it is. My family thinks they can trick me into signing away my life. I need to make sure they don't get a single cent unless it's on my terms. James whistled low. Sounds serious. Come by my office at 10. Bring whatever documents you have. Before bed, I checked on Emma's birthday card, the drawing she made of me, her, and Martha under a big oak tree. I kissed it, tucked it into my wallet, and promised myself, whatever happens, Emma's future is safe. Not because of Anna or Tom, but because her grandpa still has a few tricks left. Sleep didn't come easy that night. I tossed and turned, Martha's voice echoing in my memory. Don't let kindness make you blind, George. Even the people you love can lose their way. It hurt to believe it, hurt more than every hard year I'd ever worked. But I had to face it. My own daughter and her husband were ready to steal my life's work out from under me. At sunrise, I made a pot of coffee and sat at the kitchen table, reviewing everything I'd found in my safe. Records of every loan to Anna and Tom, receipts for Emma's tuition, even the last will I'd drawn up after Martha died. I realized that if I didn't do something, Tom and Anna could take it all, leaving Emma with nothing but memories. By 8:30, I was dressed in my best shirt. Martha always said you fight your battles with clean clothes and a clear head. I grabbed the file folder and drove across town to James Carter's law office, the one with the red brick front and the battered, open sign that had been there since the 80s. James met me at the door with a firm handshake and that knowing look lawyers get when they sense trouble. Come on in, George. You look like a man with a lot on his mind. I laid out the whole story, Emma's warning, the late-night talk, the push for paperwork. James listened, nodding, scribbling notes in his yellow pad. When I finished, he tapped the pen on the desk. This isn't just about money, George. This is about control. If you sign those papers, you lose everything: house, savings, even your say in what happens next. I nodded. I'm not signing a damn thing, James. But I need to protect Emma. I want to change my will. Set up a trust, something they can't touch, something only she can access when she's old enough. James smiled. Smart move. We can set up an educational trust. Everything you own, house, investments, goes into it. Emma can access it for college, or for starting a business, but Anna and Tom won't be able to get their hands on a cent unless you say so. We worked through the details for 2 hours, going over every clause. I added a provision: if Anna and Tom proved over the next year that they could be responsible, I'd reconsider giving them something more. But until then, it would all be locked up tighter than Fort Knox. When I left the law office, I felt a new strength in my step, a sense of purpose I hadn't felt in years. The sun was shining, traffic was light, and for a moment I let myself believe that maybe things would turn out okay. Back at home, I found Emma waiting on the porch swing, legs dangling, sketchbook in her lap. She looked up as I approached, worry clouding her freckled face. "Are you really okay, Grandpa?" I sat beside her, the swing creaking under our weight. "I am now, sweetheart. You were very brave to tell me the truth. That's not easy for someone your age." She nodded, not looking up. "I heard Mom and Dad talking again last night. They said if you don't sign, they'll find another way. Mom said something about going to court." That was the final confirmation. Anna wasn't just confused, she was determined. Maybe even desperate. I ruffled Emma's hair. "Let me worry about the grown-ups, okay? You just focus on being a kid." We spent the morning working in the garden. Martha's old roses needed pruning, and Emma loved digging in the dirt. As we worked, I thought about every sacrifice I'd made, the 16-hour days on construction sites, the skipped vacations, the quiet Christmases after Martha passed. Also, my family would have a better life. Was it all for nothing? At noon, Tom's truck pulled up, too fast and too loud. Anna followed, slamming her car door with a force that spoke of frustration more than hurry. I wiped my hands on my jeans, squared my shoulders, and met them at the porch. Anna tried to smile, but her eyes were cold. "Dad, did you look at the papers? We brought a notary. It'll only take a minute." A woman I'd never seen before trailed behind them, briefcase in hand, clipboard at the ready. This was no family meeting, this was an ambush. Tom gestured toward the living room. "Let's get it over with, Dad. You'll feel better once it's all sorted." I led them inside, Emma sticking close to my side. As Anna and Tom sat on the couch, the notary unpacked her stamp and asked for my ID. Anna slid the folder across the table, her hand trembling just a bit. "Dad, you know we love you," she said, voice syrupy but brittle. "This is for your own good." I picked up the pen, held it for a long moment, then set it back down. "I can't do it, Anna. I've spoken to my lawyer. I know exactly what these papers mean. If I sign, you control everything. My house, my money, my life. That's not going to happen." Tom's jaw clenched. "You don't trust us?" I met his eyes, unflinching. "Not anymore." Anna tried a different tactic, tears springing to her eyes. "Dad, please. We're your family. We just want to help." The notary, sensing the tension, shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "If you're not comfortable, Mr. Walker, you don't have to sign anything." Tom glared at her, then back at me. "Fine, Dad. But don't come running to us when you can't manage things anymore." They gathered their things, anger written plain on their faces. As they left, Anna turned at the door. "You'll regret this, Dad." I shut the door behind them and slumped against it, exhausted but relieved. Emma hugged me tight. "I'm proud of you, Grandpa." I smiled, my heart aching. Sometimes the hardest thing is doing what's right, even when it hurts. That night, I locked the new trust documents in my safe and called James to confirm everything was in place. "Whatever they try next, George, you're ready," he assured me. "You did the right thing." But as I looked out at the Texas stars, I knew this fight wasn't over, not by a long shot. Anna and Tom were angry, desperate, and maybe reckless. I'd have to watch my back and protect Emma, no matter what it took. The next morning, the tension in my house felt like the Texas humidity, heavy and inescapable. I tried to lose myself in routine, mowing the lawn, checking the mailbox, calling my old friend Earl to talk about the Astros' chances this season. But underneath it all, I was on high alert. I knew Anna and Tom wouldn't give up so easily. Sure enough, by lunchtime, Anna called. This time her voice was sharp, almost businesslike. "Dad, we need to meet again. There are things you don't understand. Tom's spoken with a lawyer. If you're not willing to sign, maybe the court needs to step in. My grip tightened on the phone. Anna, I'm not changing my mind. You tried to trick me, and I won't forget that. You can call any lawyer you want. I've got my own. There was a pause, then a sigh. I just want what's best for Emma. You say you care, but you're making this harder for everyone. I almost laughed at that. You don't get to tell me what's best for my granddaughter, Anna. I raised you better than this. She hung up without saying goodbye. I called James, updated him, and he promised to start a paper trail. If they try anything in court, you'll have a record. Don't let them corner you. Document every conversation, every threat. That afternoon, I checked my bank accounts online. Sure enough, someone had tried to access my savings from a new device. The security system flagged it, locked down the account, and sent me an alert. I called the bank manager, a young woman named Ms. Lopez I'd known since she was a teller. She confirmed my suspicions. Mr. Walker, we had a login attempt from another city, looked like Houston. Did you authorize anyone? No, I did not. My family's been acting strange lately. Please make sure only I can access anything. And send me a full account activity report. She promised to tighten security and flag my profile for any further suspicious activity. Another bullet dodged, but the war wasn't over. That evening, Emma and I cooked chili together in the kitchen, just the way Martha used to, lots of cumin, a little bit of chocolate. As we ate at the table, I looked at her, this brave little girl who'd told me the truth even when it scared her. Emma, you know you can always talk to me, right? I said gently. About anything. She nodded. I just want us to be happy, Grandpa. I heard Mom and Dad fighting last night. Dad said you're making things worse. Mom started crying. Guilt stabbed at me, but I held steady. Sometimes, Emma, grown-ups make mistakes. What matters is that you stay true to yourself, even when it's hard. After dinner, I wrote everything down, every conversation, every attempt to push me, every threat or trick. James was right. A paper trail could save me if this went to court. That night, my phone buzzed, an email from Anna's lawyer. Cold and official, it read, Dear Mr. Walker, as your daughter's legal representative, I am formally requesting a discussion about your capacity to manage your finances and property. If you do not respond, we will consider all legal options available to protect the interests of your family. It felt like a slap. They were actually trying to prove I wasn't competent, to take away not just my money, but my independence. That, more than anything, lit a fire inside me. I replied at once. I am fully capable, with legal documentation to prove it. Any further attempts to undermine my rights will be met with legal action. I have retained counsel. Do not contact me except through my lawyer, James Carter. I CC'd James on every email. The next day, I visited James again. He walked me through the process. If they push for a guardianship, you'll need medical proof you're of sound mind. Let's schedule an appointment with your doctor. We'll get it on record. I went to Dr. Thompson the very next day. He ran memory tests, had me recall dates and details, even made me count backwards by sevens. At the end, he smiled, shaking my hand. George, you're as sharp as anyone I've seen at your age. If your family's trying to paint you as incompetent, they'll have a hard time. I'll write up a full report. Relief washed over me. I faxed the report to James, who filed it away with the rest. That weekend, I saw Anna's car in my driveway while I was coming back from the store. She'd never just shown up like this since college. She stood on the porch, arms crossed, looking both furious and defeated. Dad, why are you doing this? She demanded as I got out of the truck. You're tearing the family apart. I took a deep breath. No, Anna. You did that when you tried to steal from me. You forgot who taught you about honesty. She broke down in tears, covering her face. We're drowning, Dad. Tom's business is failing, and we're behind on Emma's tuition. I just wanted to help. I wanted to comfort her, but I stayed firm. You help by asking, not by scheming. I can still love you, but I won't let you walk all over me. She left, slamming her car door, peeling out of the driveway. Emma watched from the window, face pressed against the glass, eyes wide with confusion and hurt. That night, for the first time in months, I slept deeply. I'd found my footing. They could threaten, they could plot, but they'd underestimated this old man, and forgotten I had more grit than they knew. And I wasn't done protecting what mattered. By Monday, rumors were spreading all through the neighborhood. Folks in Austin talk, especially when someone's family drama hits the surface. Mrs. Peterson stopped me while I was picking up the morning paper, her face full of worry. George, is everything all right? I saw Anna leave here in tears the other day. I gave her a tired smile. Family stuff, Margaret. But thanks for asking. I knew Anna would try to twist the story, make me out to be the villain, an old man losing his mind, stubbornly clinging to his house and savings while his daughter just wanted to help. I decided right then to get ahead of the gossip. That afternoon, I went to the local diner, Martha's favorite, the one with faded red booths and the best pecan pie in Travis County. Half a dozen old friends sat at the counter. I took my usual seat, and after the waitress poured my coffee, I told the truth. Not every ugly detail, but enough. My family's going through a hard time. Anna and Tom tried to take control of my finances without asking. I'm not as confused as they think. I'm handling things with my lawyer. A couple of the men nodded, others looked shocked. But I saw relief in some eyes, maybe gratitude that someone said out loud what so many seniors fear. Before I left, Earl slapped my back and said, "You hang tough, George. Don't let them railroad you. You built your life, don't let anyone steal it now." Those words stuck with me as I drove home, windows down, warm wind swirling through the truck. For a moment I felt lighter, stronger. But the next blow fell that night. James called, his voice urgent. "George, I just got notice. Anna and Tom filed for emergency guardianship in county court. They're claiming you're mentally unfit. The court has frozen all your major accounts until a hearing. I'm sending a process server to your house tomorrow with the official paperwork." My hands shook as I set down the phone. They'd really gone through with it, tried to have me declared incompetent, just to get my house and money. The trust I'd set up for Emma would hold, but now my regular checking and savings were locked, and I'd have to prove my own sanity before a judge. I sat in Martha's old armchair for a long time, Emma curled up beside me. She watched cartoons on her tablet while I stared at the TV, not seeing anything. My whole life, the house, the business, even my name, felt like it was balanced on the edge of a knife. The next morning, I went to court with James. Anna was already there, dressed in her best blouse, face pale, Tom beside her looking nervous but determined. Their lawyer, a sharp woman in a gray suit, approached James with a stack of papers. "Mr. Walker is in decline," she told the judge, who peered down at me over his glasses. "He's become forgetful. He forgot to pay his property taxes, missed a few doctor's appointments. My clients are only trying to keep him safe." James stood up, calm and steady. "Your Honor, my client is fully competent. I have a recent medical evaluation from Dr. Thompson stating Mr. Walker is of sound mind and capable of handling his own affairs." The judge read the papers in silence. I watched Anna, her eyes flicking between me and her hands. I wondered if she felt guilt, or only fear of losing what she wanted. At last, the judge looked up. "Mr. Walker, do you understand what's happening here today?" I met his gaze, steady and clear. "Yes, Your Honor. My daughter and her husband are trying to take my house and money. I am not confused or unwell. I've run a business for 40 years. I pay my bills, mow my lawn, and take care of my granddaughter. I have no desire to give up my rights or property." The judge nodded. "Your doctor's report supports that." Unless there is further evidence, I see no reason to appoint a guardian. I will dismiss this petition, but if credible proof emerges, we will revisit the matter." Anna gasped softly. Tom slumped in his seat. Their lawyer whispered something, but the damage was done. We walked out into the Texas sun. James clapped my shoulder. "That went as well as it could, George. They may try something else, but for now you're safe. The court will unfreeze your accounts within 2 business days." Anna and Tom avoided my eyes in the parking lot. I almost pitied them. Almost. That evening, as Emma and I watched the stars from the back porch, she leaned her head on my arm. "Are they going to take you away, Grandpa?" I shook my head, holding her close. "No, sweetheart. I'm staying right here. And I promise, no one is going to take you away from me, either." Inside, I checked the safe again. Trust documents, will, Martha's letter, everything in order. I added a new letter, written in my own shaky hand, telling Emma the whole story. I didn't know if she needed it, but I wanted her to know the truth when she was old enough. As the night breeze stirred Martha's wind chimes, I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't just fighting for my money or my house. I was fighting for my dignity, and for Emma's future. No matter what Anna and Tom tried next, I was ready. Because this battle was about more than fortune. It was about love, loyalty, and the lesson Martha had taught me years ago. Family means protecting each other, even from themselves. The days after court were oddly quiet. Anna stopped calling. Tom didn't come around. For a moment, I thought maybe they'd finally accepted defeat. I went about my business, grocery shopping, tending the roses, walking Emma to school. Still, every time the phone rang, I braced for bad news. But trouble has a way of circling back. On Thursday, I opened the mailbox to find a thick envelope stamped "Urgent." Inside was a letter from Anna's lawyer, now demanding repayment for old loans I'd supposedly promised to forgive, along with an itemized list of household expenses for Emma's care. It was laughable. Every dime I'd ever given, they were now spinning as debts I owed them. I took it straight to James. He read it twice, then smirked. "It's a last-ditch scare tactic. They're hoping you'll settle out of fear. The trust is airtight, your accounts are unlocked, and you have a will that's been recently updated. You don't owe them anything, George." Still, I could feel the strain. My nights grew restless. I'd wake up thinking I heard footsteps outside, imagining Tom lurking in the dark, desperate for money. I installed new locks on the doors, told the neighbors to keep an eye out, and let the local police know what was happening. They promised to do regular patrols past the house. Emma seemed to sense the tension. She drew quieter, asking more questions. "Why does Mom want your money, Grandpa? Aren't we supposed to share in a family?" I struggled to explain. "Sometimes people get scared, honey. They think money will solve their problems, but it only makes them forget what matters. I wish your mom remembered that, too." One night, I sat at the kitchen table, looking over the trust papers and Martha's old letters. There, in her careful script, she'd written, "If ever you feel lost, George, remember what we built together. Houses and money can come and go, but love, honesty, and grit, that's what lasts." Those words helped me steel myself for whatever came next. A week later, Anna came to the house. No warning. No apology. She stood on the porch, looking 10 years older, her face drawn and her hair unbrushed. For a long moment, she just stared at me, her eyes full of things she couldn't say. I stepped outside, leaving the door open just a crack for Emma, who peeked through the curtains. "Dad," Anna said quietly, "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you. Tom's been drinking, he's lost his job, and the bills keep piling up. I thought if we could get the money, everything would be okay." I didn't move. "You tried to take away my life's work, Anna. And you lied to your daughter." Her voice broke. "I know. I see that now. I was scared. I lost sight of what matters. I miss Mom. I miss how things used to be. A long silence stretched between us. At last I said, "You're still my daughter. But there are consequences, Anna. I can't just hand you everything. If you want to be part of this family again, you need to earn back my trust, and Emma's too." She nodded, tears running down her cheeks. "What do I do?" "Get help. Find a job. Stop blaming everyone else. And remember, Emma is watching. She'll learn from what you do next." Anna wiped her eyes and left without another word. That night, Emma sat beside me on the porch, her small hand in mine. "Do you still love Mom?" she whispered. I squeezed her hand. "Of course I do, sweetheart. Love doesn't disappear, even when people make big mistakes. But sometimes, love means saying no. It means standing your ground and hoping the people you care about find their way back." The next days were full of small routines: Emma's schoolwork, phone calls from neighbors, check-ins with James. Tom tried one more trick, calling the bank and pretending to be me to move funds. But the bank manager called me directly. "Is this your authorization, Mr. Walker?" she asked. "No," I said, voice firm. "Don't let anyone touch a cent without hearing from me in person." "Understood. We're flagging your account." For the first time in weeks, I felt true relief. I'd been tested, by my own daughter, by greed, by fear, and I hadn't bent or broken. I'd protected what mattered. Not just money, not just a house, but the heart of my family. Emma was safe. Anna had been forced to face herself. And Tom, well, I suspected his reckoning was still coming. But most of all, I'd kept my promise to Martha. I'd protected Emma's future, even if it meant losing peace with my daughter. As the Texas sun set over the backyard, lighting up the last of Martha's roses, I knew the battle was almost over. But one final conversation remained, the hardest one of all. The final piece of my plan came together on a crisp Friday morning, just as the autumn wind started rustling through the live oaks in my front yard. I woke early, poured myself a cup of black coffee, and sat at the kitchen table with the trust documents, Martha's old letters, and a fresh yellow notepad. It was time to make my intentions clear, once and for all. First, I wrote a letter to Emma, one she could read when she was older. I told her about her grandma's wisdom, about what family really means, and how sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is stand alone for what's right. I tucked the letter into my safe, right beside the trust documents with her name on them. By mid-morning, the doorbell rang. It was James Carter, my lawyer, just as we'd arranged. He carried the final drafts of the will, the trust, and a thick file documenting everything Anna and Tom had tried, every threat, every attempt to trick or pressure me, and every step I'd taken to protect myself and Emma. We reviewed everything one last time at my old oak desk. "You're sure about this, George?" James asked, sliding the final document across for my signature. "I'm sure. This is for Emma. And it's the only way Anna and Tom will ever learn." I signed the papers in front of him, steady as a rock. James notarized them, then gave me a look full of both sadness and admiration. "You did the right thing, George. It's hard, but sometimes love means drawing the line." Just as James was leaving, Anna's car pulled up to the curb. She stepped out, alone, looking more humble than I'd seen her in years. There was no anger in her face now, only regret and a fragile hope. I met her on the porch, the late morning sun casting long shadows across the wood. Emma watched from inside, pressing her hands to the glass but saying nothing. Anna looked at me with eyes red from crying. "Dad, I know I've lost your trust. Tom's moved out. He says it's over. I don't blame you for anything that happened." I nodded, letting her words hang in the warm air. "I'm sorry, Anna. I'm sorry for what you've been through. But you have to understand, what you and Tom did, it was wrong. I've protected Emma's future because I couldn't trust you. Her lips trembled. I understand. I really do. I've started looking for work. I want to do better. I hope someday you and Emma can forgive me. There was a long silence, broken only by the wind chimes Martha had loved. I spoke gently. You're still my daughter. I'll always care about you. But it's going to take time, and you'll have to show us both, with your choices, not just your words, that you're different. If you do, maybe things can heal. Maybe. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I'm going to try, Dad. I promise. Before she left, I handed her a copy of the trust summary. Everything is for Emma now. College, a home, a real chance. You'll have to work for your own future, Anna, just like I did. But if you need help, real help, the right kind, I'll always answer your call. You just have to ask the right way. She hugged me for the first time in years, hesitant at first, then fierce, like the little girl I used to lift high above my head after baseball games. I love you, Dad, she whispered, and for the first time in a long while, I believed her. That evening I told Emma the truth in simple words she could understand. Your mom made mistakes, honey, but she's trying to make things right. I've made sure you'll always have what you need. And I'll always be here for you, no matter what. Emma wrapped her arms around me and buried her face in my shirt. I'm glad you're my grandpa. You're the bravest person I know. I smiled, feeling Martha's presence in that moment. All the pain, all the struggle, it was worth it for the safety and peace I'd secured for Emma. I knew Martha would be proud. The next months weren't easy. Anna got a job at a local clinic. She worked long hours and called every Sunday just to say hi. Gradually, the trust began to rebuild, not just between us, but for Emma too. Tom never came back. We heard he'd left town, chasing some new scheme. Life settled into a new kind of normal. Emma and I spent afternoons in the garden, planning for her future. She dreamed of becoming a veterinarian, or maybe a teacher. The trust I'd set up would let her go to any college she wanted, start her own business, or buy her first home, on her terms, not as a handout to anyone else. Sometimes, on quiet evenings, Anna would join us for dinner. She'd bring a homemade pie, and we'd laugh together, slowly, carefully, but with hope. One night, as we watched the stars come out over the Texas sky, Emma leaned against me and whispered, "Grandpa, do you think Grandma can see us?" I squeezed her hand. I think she can. And I think she's smiling. Because in the end, it wasn't about the money, or the house, or even the betrayals. It was about family, real family. The kind you fight for, the kind you protect, and the kind you forgive when the storm finally passes. And as the seasons changed, I realized the hardest battles sometimes bring the deepest peace. I'd kept my promise, to Martha and to Emma. And I was still standing, stronger, wiser, and more grateful than ever for the second chances life can offer.